Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another live session with the Hype Magazine. I'm your editor-in-chief, Jerry Doby, and today, I have a proud moment. I get to talk with Mr. Sam Pollard. He is the director of an amazing film. They want to call it a documentary. I call it a film, The League. And it is more than about the Negro Leagues. It also touches on how the league sparked economic change and brought out some social pillars within the Black community and inspired people to start their own. Mr. Pollard, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure, Jerry. My pleasure.
Okay, so obviously we want to know what inspired you to make it, but I'm looking at you and the gray hair, and I understand without asking.
No, it wasn't just me though. It was a young man named Byron Motley, whose dad, Bob Motley, had been a Negro League umpire in the late 40s and the 50s, and they had written a memoir. And he reached out to me about turning his story into a film. And Byron had also interviewed a lot of former Negro League players like Max Manning and others, and said, "I have that. You can have access to those." So we went on this journey, like all documentaries, to raise the money. Took a while. We got Ahmir, Questlove, Thompson involved. He brought in a company called RadicalMedia. They got involved, and they were able to raise the funds. And we started shooting a lot of really Negro League aficionados, people who love the game. Mm-hmm. And then we started, the process of doing research. Had a great archival producer named Helen Russell. And I had a great team. Robin Espinola, my producer, story producer, Dave Marcus, the editor, Jen Isaacson and Dave Saronic were the producers. And we started shooting. And it was a fun ride. I mean, I grew up being a huge baseball fan in the 60s. I was a St. Louis Cardinals fan from the 1964 team with Lou Brock and Kurt Flood and Bill White.
Okay.
And so, baseball was, like a lot of us my age, it was the American pastime, so it was fun. I mean, I had always known about Satchel and Josh Gibson, but now I've really got to know about Rube Foster and F.M. Manley and all these other great dynamic owners.
That was a huge learn for me about F.M. Manley being, the first woman admitted to the National Baseball Hall of Fame. That was huge learn for me. So I really enjoyed the story. Obviously, I have a personal, Larry Doby being the cousin and all that good stuff. I've seen these documentaries. This was special in that, to me, it was special in that it focused on the spark that the league was for the economics and people saying, we can do this ourselves. And the leaders, Posey and Greenlee, who, said, what? I don't have to deal with their world. We can create our own world and move forward. And some of the most amazing things developed from the development of the league. And
that's what we always have to remember, that, during this period of American apartheid, which let's call it what it was.
Roger that.
We had to figure out how to take care of ourselves. We weren't going to be given anything. That's why we had our own businesses. We had our own funeral parlors. We had our own entertainment, source of entertainment. So when you had someone like Gus Greenlee, who was able to manage it, own a team like the Pittsburgh Crawfords, but also have a place, a club where people could hang out, the Crawford Grill, and his players could come off the field and mingle with the people in the community. And you had artists like Lena Horne and Mary Lou Williams and others hanging out at the Crawford Grill. That was a time of real thriving for our communities. I mean, it was not only in Pittsburgh, it was in Chicago's Bronzeville, it was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, it was in Harlem, it was in LA, it was every place where Black communities knew that we weren't going to be given any handouts by white people. We had to do it ourselves,
Right.
And so people would come out of church on Sunday and go to the ball game. And you can see in that footage, man, all how much our people really love going to those games and enjoying watching players like Satchel and Josh and Larry Doby and Monty Irvin, all these great players, But the thing to remember, and I was saying this earlier to somebody, Jerry, when I was growing up, the only story I ever heard was Jackie Robinson integrated the major leagues, and it changed the world. And I knew about the Kansas City Monarchs, but did I really know about the Negro Leagues? Not really. This is an opportunity to learn about Negro Leagues. Did I know that Branch Rickey who we see as Harrison Ford signing the late Chadwick Boseman, was also a guy who didn't want to compensate Negro League owners for players that he got, like Don Newcombe and Roy Campanella and Jackie, and Effa Manley called him out on that, and she was able to get Bill Vick to give her some money for Larry Doby, who was the second, Black baseball player that, with the Cleveland Indians. So
he was first in the American League. Yeah.
In the American League. And this is the thing that's always great about making these docs. You get to see how complicated this American history is when people keep telling you, oh, America was just the place where Abraham Lincoln emancipated us and he was wonderful. Well, and I know Abraham Lincoln was much more complicated than that. Everything in America is complicated.
Real talk. Yeah. And they don't talk about Johnson, who came right behind him within weeks, did away with the, what is
That's
that?
Right.
Order 15.
That's right.
Talking about the what's the face in the 40 Acres and the Mule, and he took
he got rid of it.
Union soldiers out of the South, so blacks were no longer protected. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So the league coming to, we went through all of that, and the league, in my opinion, highlights, people saying we can do it. We created it. They put work clothes on their dreams, moved it into action. We created communities that were impactful and that young people reference to today, 5 Points in Denver, Nicodemus here in Kansas, Mankato, et cetera, et cetera. I really loved the way that it examined the unintended consequences of integration. Everything that we accomplished as a community within the fabric of our community became adulterated as soon as we let them back in.
Exactly.
Do I have it right? You
got it right. Okay. But you see, this is a story that we never told.
Roger that.
We're never told. You and I grew up where the whole thing was people would say to me, you need to become a part of the American melting pot. Don't bring that other baggage with you. You want to forget where you came from because you want to be part of America's melting pot. Well, here's the reality, man. There's no such thing as an American melting pot.
That's true.
No, and it took me a long time to understand that. Understand that this America is a very complicated place, and our DNA is based on the backs of us as enslaved people, and the mass genocide of Native people, man.
Wow. I know you've been going at this all day. I really want to respect your time. It was the most enjoyable 103 minutes I've had all year.
Great, man.
I appreciate it. So I would like to know, what was your greatest satisfaction in getting this project completed?
Well, for me, always, Jerry, the greatest satisfaction when I make these films, be it about the Negro Leagues or Bill Russell or August Wilson or Sammy Davis Jr. or Slavery by Another Name, it's an opportunity for me to be able to share our history with the larger public so they understand that American history, man, is not what we were told is about George Washington or Abraham Lincoln or Franklin Delano Roosevelt, or Babe Ruth or Lou Gehrig. American history is our story too, man. And our story is rich and vital and important, And if you're going to have me say to me, I got to know about Babe Ruth, then somebody should know about Josh Gibson. Absolutely. You're going to tell me I need to know about Ted Williams, somebody should know about Satchel Paige, It's simple as that.
And then in the conversation, when you're talking about Mr. Robinson, you can't just talk baseball. You've got to talk about the bank that he started in Harlem. You've got to talk about the construction company that he started so that Black people could get loans and construction permits to make homes and just live the American dream. Anyway, most important takeaway from me is if we love ourselves, work with ourselves, we can do everything. And it's been proven. You see, every time we achieve, they try to tear it down one way or t'other, and it's going down. They're attacking our farmers and everything right now.
Exactly.
Get you some inspiration and some energy from the league. It premiered at Tribeca Film Festival on June 12th. I understand that it was overwhelmingly received and coming to AMC theaters here July 7th, and available on digital July 14th. Mr. Sam Pollard, he's an amazing, amazing filmmaker. He's got a great history. The League is just the most recent, and it's not going to be his last, I'm sure. He inspired me. Hopefully he inspire you. Please take the time to learn some history and understand that Buy Back the Block didn't start in the hood. It started decades ago when our leaders, our forefathers, the real forefathers, decided that separate was more equal.
Cool.
Mr. Pollard, is there anything you wanted to cover that I may have missed?
No, you did it, Jay. You did a good job. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. All right.
Be good, Jerry.
You too, sir.
As an artist, we should reflect the time.
Why you so talented?
Because I'm black.
Why you so amazing?
Because I'm black.
It's really important that we build characters so that people understand their story matters.
2 Chainz and I both are just really into good food.
And when you know you are royalty, you will only aim in life to be royalty.
We're doing it right now. I don't give a damn what they say about me. Yes, I called your ass out. I know I shouldn't be saying this kind of.
Shout out to Hype Magazine Network.
Shout out to the Hype Magazine Network.